All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Reyes Reflection Podcast. I'm able to be heard on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and Google. And of course, follow me on Instagram at I'm Nathanael Reyes. Now, I'm going to get right into the introduction. This talented artist, she's a singer, a dog lover, and a contestant of this upcoming season of The Voice. So without further ado, please welcome Lana Love. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's a great intro.
Thank you.
Dog lover for sure.
In honor of your love for dogs, ready? I have a joke for you, okay?
I'm so excited.
What do dogs and my phone have in common?
What? I don't know.
They both have caller ID.
Hey, but yes, I might steal that one.
I love it. There's the dad joke for you. So you do something remarkable. You take the overflow of rescue dogs. Is that right?
Yeah. So anytime there would be, an extra dog, we had minimum 7 dogs at all times. 6 were in the family, and then we would always take one. So an extra, or sometimes they would even come in pairs. So in that case, I would just help out the owner of the rescue and foster them until they found a home. So it was super rewarding and just so healing.
So you've always been around rescue dogs and stuff like that. When did you get into this?
I've been vegan for the past 12 years of my life. And so it started there. And I had watched all the Netflix documentaries and whatnot, Forks Over Knives and those sorts of things. And then since then, I kind of just said, you know what? I don't even think I personally need meat in my life. Don't have a problem if other people, choose differently. But I just made that decision for myself. And then I wound up in homes, essentially, where the owner had a surplus of animals. Like, my previous home prior to the one I'm in now, the woman who owned the house she had 6 animals, like different kinds of animals. We had a bird, we had an African gray.
So you've always been around animals.
Dogs. Yeah, I just have, and I've always loved them. And in a room, if there's a dog, the dog will come to me. It senses that I love them, and they will come to me and just like claim me by by my feet. And so it's just always been a connection of mine that I've had.
Dogs definitely know that stuff. I've rescued dogs my whole life, and they definitely do know that. They know when you genuinely love them, if you're a dog person, because their energy, and my energy is more of a dog person, if that makes sense. I love animals, but I feel like my energy is more of a dog person in the sense of I'm very outgoing. I'm very, hi, how's it going? How's your day? And I feel like a dog is that way when you walk in the door from a long day of work, and they're like, oh, how's it going? They're like all over you. That's how I am. So I feel like I relate more towards dogs, and I've always been a dog person. I love them. And they're like people. They really have like a little personality.
They do, and I so resonate with what you just said, and I love that you're a dog person because I could see you like light up.
Yeah.
And it's so amazing. I think also dog people just get each other too.
They do.
Because dogs really do sense the truth of you.
Yes.
And so I guess that's why, and they're so in the moment, and I love to just like watch how in the moment they are. In acting class, they always say, watch a dog.
Yeah. Because they're real.
Because they're real, and they're so in the moment, and they just ask for exactly what they want. And they will not stop until you give them what they want. So.
And I love the little faces they make at you, because it's like they just stare at you, and they, even though they can't say anything, they're saying a lot. And that's the thing. Like I again love cats too. I love dog, but I'm more of a dog person. I just prefer them. I've always have. That's just always been me. I grew up with dogs. And yeah, now I almost don't know what it's like to have a life without a dog. It's like I need a dog.
Do you have a dog now?
I do. I have two. Yeah, I have 2, and they're hilarious. One is a black lab mix, and he's like 90 pounds. And then I have another one who's
God.
like a little wiener dog, and he's like 10 pounds. but they have like the same color coat. I'm a big dog person, and unfortunately, I had another one that passed away about a year and a half ago. We had to put her down, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah,
Sorry to hear
it
that. It's
it
so
re-
hard.
it is it's like losing
So
a family
hard.
member. It really is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I was
is.
devastated. But I've rescued all of them, and those rescues they just they have this sort of love that is like you can't describe it. They just have a love for you that I've never felt it in a way like it's weird. I know it's weird to other people, but I love it. I love it. I know there are some people that don't understand what it is to be a dog lover, but these pets, they really do.
I'm
They have
glad
a
we unite. We
yeah.
unite, us
They,
dog
they
lovers.
have a bind on your heart. Like I read something that said temporary friends with a life lasting impact, and it couldn't be more true. Those little
Mhm.
boogers, love them. We gotta love them.
Oh, I love that. Too, with rescue dogs, I find that no matter how much trauma the dog has experienced, it still finds a way to love.
Yes.
It normally takes a couple weeks for them to calm down. A lot of them are very ferocious, and I would get some that would, bite me a little bit
Yeah.
just for petting them because they're so scared and whatever it is they've been through. But by the end of the week, they're crawling all over me and loving me. And I just think like the resilience of that is such a great thing to see for humans
Yeah.
because they're able to do that in a week. And we carry our trauma with us for 30 years.
Yeah. It's like I wish we could be more like dogs in the sense.
I
And they're
know.
like loyal, they're forgiving. I could do the entire episode on this. But
I know, me too.
I
We'll
do
get into other stuff, but
I do
I
want to
love dogs.
I do too. I do want to touch up on you said you're a vegan. That's
Yeah.
something I didn't see. What caused you to want to go into being a vegan?
Couple things. At first, it was for health reasons
Okay.
because as a singer, you have a lot of nasal congestion and issues like living in big cities. And so I was in New York at the time. And at the changing of the season, I just found that I could not sing. And anytime I had meat or dairy products, I felt like crap. And
Yep.
I was like, let me just try this and see if I cut out dairy and meat. And then I had watched those shows that I was
Oh,
talking
those
to you
Netflix
about,
documentaries. Yep.
the documentaries. And once I saw that, it was a no-brainer for me personally. I just cut it out and I really didn't have an issue.
Hmm.
Also, being in New York or LA, it's much more accepted and there's more options for you. But I can always find something on the menu, no matter where I go. So it was an easy transition once I understood the rules. You
I
know.
so some background on me. I actually was a vegetarian for a long time, and
Oh
then
wow.
unfortunately, I was going through a lot of medical stuff where I wasn't getting the appropriate protein because I don't normally eat beans and legumes. Like I actually don't even like them, and it's very hard. Like I try and I just don't like them. So I transitioned into being a pescatarian, and so just fish for the people who don't know that. And so I ate just fish. However, I ate too much of it, and I became sick from eating too much of it because you
Oh
can get
wow.
like mercury poisoning and things like
Mercury.
yeah, and things like that. So I became sick from eating too much, and I became allergic to shellfish. So it
Oh
really
wow.
yeah. So it really was hitting me one after the other, and then I switched to just chicken and turkey. I have not eaten red meat in years. I don't even like it, and I actually try my best to even cut out a meal without chicken and turkey. And I think that that's again, I'm not telling people, and it sounds like you're the same way. You don't tell people how to live their lives. You don't say you need to switch to it. But for me, I think even if you just cut out just one meal, where you didn't eat a meat product or you didn't eat dairy, you're helping. You're helping the cause. You're also helping your digestion at the same time. So as you said, there are a lot of benefits to it. And I've tried some vegan restaurants, and they're awesome. Like I've
They're
eaten
so good.
I know. I've eaten some vegan food. I my favorite joint is this place in Seattle, and I wish I knew the name of it. But it was amazing.
I know which one you're talking about
You do? You do?
because everyone recommends it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've never been to Seattle, but I know there's like one vegan joint there that is
Yes,
just so bomb.
it is, and
Ah,
it
we
was
got to take a trip.
I know, right? And it was amazing, and it emulated like a cheeseburger, and it was so good, and it was like all vegan, and I was like, this is just, it was awesome. It was awesome. And prior to, like I said, I had not eaten red meat in years, and it really, I was like, wow, they like emulated it as if it was a Big Mac, and it tasted as I remember it when I first ate one at like 11 years old, and I was like, vegan food is really good. If the chef is right, vegan food is really, really good.
Oh my gosh. Is it time for lunch yet? Because
you're on the West Coast, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so so no, it's
not yet.
Yeah,
I'm still on coffee.
It's breakfast for you. So you're from Glendale, California, is that right?
Yeah, I kind of bounce around in Cali. I'm a sublet kind of gal right now, free flowing. So I happen to be in downtown LA at this particular moment.
Wow, LA.
Yeah, baby. Where are you at?
I'm over right currently. I'm on the East Coast right now. So
where on East Coast are you?
Massachusetts. So
Come on.
opposite end. But I did take a trip to LA over the summer, and I visited Disneyland, Anaheim, San Diego. So I had a good time. It was a very brief trip, but I had a great time. It's always fun out there.
Oh yeah, and I love Disneyland. I actually just went there last week.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and it was just so fun.
Yeah, I went to
the little kid in me I become like a little princess, like a 5-year-old. I do, and I just love it, and I forget about the world,
Yeah.
And like actually dressed up as a princess. I did like cosplay.
You did? That's awesome.
And all the little girls thought that I was Elsa.
Oh, I could see that. I could see you going as Elsa.
And I did have my long hair, and I braided it, and I put like little gemstones in my hair, and I had this blue dress, like light blue.
Yeah.
And all these little girls came up to me, and they were like, "Can we take a photo?"
Oh.
And and I was wearing my legend jacket too, and it was just like such a fun moment to, some of the little girls were like, I watched the show, and that's just what it's about. And it was just
absolutely
so fun.
You do become a little kid, because I found even with myself, I was like running up to I went to Avengers Campus, and I was running up to Spider-Man, Captain America, Iron Man, and I'm like, can I take a picture with you? And I felt like I was a little kid.
So corny.
It is, right? It's
so
like,
corny, and I love it.
It's like I'm almost 30 years old, and here I am running to these full-grown adults in a costume. But it's a good time.
We're always kids.
Right?
Even when I'm 50, I'm going to be doing that. When I'm 99, if they will let me in the park, I will be there.
I couldn't agree more, because I always say to people, when they say, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm like, I'm not going to grow up, so I don't know. Like, whatever. Like, I'm still a big kid. A lot of my friends tease me, and they say, you're the biggest 3-year-old I've ever met, because I just love to have fun. I love to be rolling around in the dirt with the kids. It's just, we talked off camera. My background is working with kids, so I've always had that big personality of running around with kids, being that, like, big brother type of feel for them. I love that type of stuff. It's always been fun for me.
It's a big compliment that your friend said that.
Yeah, right.
Because a lot of people, the older you get, the more you shut that part off of you. So the fact that that's how people see you means that you still have the light.
Yeah.
So that's really awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And clearly you do too, because you dressed up as Elsa, and it was a good time.
I'm a big kid too.
Are you
the older I get, the more I'm a kid.
Are you a roller coaster gal?
I do love roller coasters. In fact, I was able to ride Space Mountain with my hands up the entire time.
Yeah.
This time for the first time. And it was so thrilling. No, but I did not hold on to anything. I just like stuck my tongue out, and I screamed, and I just like let the G-forces take me.
Yeah.
I loved it.
That's
Are
awesome.
you? Do you like roller coasters?
Yeah, I love them. I have to get on them. I'm like, nope, we need to make it a priority. I need to get on. I need to do it. And I love that stuff. And I went to it's like Tower of Terror, but it was the Guardians of the Galaxy one. And and that was so much fun. I love that. It's not a roller coaster, but it's like a Star Blaster type of effect where you're dropping down, going up, dropping down. So much fun. I had such a great time. I would love to go back out there again. Yeah. Now you've got me
Yeah,
Now
come
you
on
got me.
back.
Now you got me in the mode. I'm definitely gonna make. I'll have to make a trip out there. We'll have to connect when I do. So I'll definitely will.
Please, we'll go to Disneyland again.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know who I would dress up as. You'd be Elsa. I'm not sure who I'd dress up as. So there's not really too many characters that look like me. So
I
we'll see.
don't know. You could play in Aladdin for sure.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
typecasting you right now, but
You are. You are.
I definitely see some Aladdin
Aladdin.
vibes
I
going
could see that.
on.
I got the long flow going. Maybe.
Yeah, you're wearing
See.
a purple, jacket. I feel like he would wear purple. He
Yeah.
did. He wore a purple vest.
Yes, he
You're
did.
already ready.
You're right. You're right. That is me. I love my purples. I love my pinks. I love those vibrant colors. But
Real men wear pink, so
thank you. Yeah, that's my bracelet. My favorite color is pink. I love pink. I've always loved
yes.
pink. It's always been my favorite color even since middle school. But
Like a salmon pink, or like pink.
I've just always liked any color, even neon pink. I felt like because I'm naturally a tan individual, so I feel like it goes well with my skin, and that's why I've always liked it. I was like, I'm tan, it pops. Summer tan, I'm
Yeah.
wearing pink. It looks good. Yeah, so I've always been. I got teased a lot in middle school because I'm sure you know, like, you get this stigma that you're gay or whatever, and it's like, no, I'm not. I just love the color pink. And I'm okay with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I grew up in a pretty tough middle school where a lot of kids because we're around the same age. You're 30, right?
Ageless.
Yeah, right. We're both ages. I'm 28. Gonna be 29 in a month. But bullying
Happy
was.
almost birthday.
Thank you. Bullying was really, really big when I was in middle school. Like it wasn't until I was done high school where Obama put that law where bullying was kind of nixed, or they created more attention towards bullying. Which again, awesome. It should be done, and you kind of see it now because I don't know about you, but when I was in high school, middle school, there was certain stereotypes. It was like jocks, goths. You almost like there's like no group like that now. Like everybody dresses like
Genre bending.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's a good thing. I think it's definitely a good thing because that's how we should be as a society. So but yeah, no, I love it. I love that we're
definitely changing.
Yeah.
And the one good thing about cancel culture is that you can't really get by with that anymore.
Right.
I think that's the one positive that came out of all of this, is that we went so extreme that now we're kind of finding these middle ground areas where you don't have to be one thing. And I don't think we ever are. And anytime we try to put someone or something into a box, it just doesn't work anymore.
Right. No, I couldn't agree more. But going back to you, you're a vivacious individual, and you said that started as a little girl, right? So, because you dressed up and pranced around your house in your outfits, and you still do it now.
I still do it. I'm wearing my love pants.
Oh, I love that.
For you.
Yeah.
And they're like pajamas. So,
yeah, right.
That's mainly the reason. But I also did it for you.
Thank you. I like that. Lana Love. Yep. There you go.
On brand.
That's not a stage name, right? That's Love is your last name?
Oh, it's a stage name.
Oh, it is a stage name.
It is. It was delivered to me.
Who delivered?
It was like you. Well, delivered is probably a funny way of putting it, but I realized that love was the one thing I knew nothing about, and the one most important thing here on this planet. And so I thought if I name myself it, that I'd have to figure it out.
I was just saying that the other day, how it's so confusing to me. Love is so confusing because, this is why I say it's confusing. So, two people can genuinely dislike each other. They can genuinely hate each other or not even know who each other are. But then something happens, and then the chemicals in their brains are changing, and then they start to see something in that person that they like, and then it evolves into stronger feelings, and then you end up falling for that person, and you fall in love with that person. So I was saying it the other day. I was like, it literally is one of the most confusing things on this planet to me. It really is. It's right up there with like some other crazy conspiracy theories. Because to me, I'm like, if you really think about it, I'm like, we're meant to love. We're meant to love. You know, that we're meant to be in tribes, around people. But how do you go from not knowing a person in 1 month, and then all of a sudden you start to get feelings for them, and then you love them in 5 months, 6 months. That's why I'm like, wow, it is a crazy concept, but it's cool. It's cool to talk about. It's cool to think about. But
it is, because there's no definition for it.
Right.
And it's defined by you, and it's defined by the moment, and it changes in every moment.
Yep.
And if you ask Siri or Google what the definition of love is, she'll say, oh, someone you admire, or something, a broadened version of what love is. But I think it's vibrational.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's in every moment, if you can find it. And I think it's to varying degrees that you can feel it and you allow it in that moment. Like right now, this conversation is a version of love. Like there's only positive feelings. There's only, just a positive vibrational exchange, essentially. That's still love. Like looking at a dog.
Yeah.
That's love too. Looking at a kid, tapping into your inner child, going to Disneyland, that's love too. Like these are all different aspects of love, which is why I don't think we've like hit the nail on the head on a definition, because there isn't a definition for it. It's just a feeling, and how receptive you are to that feeling.
No, I couldn't agree more. Well,
I've done a lot of thinking about this since I named myself it. Not that my way is the only way, but
nope.
Just take it or leave it.
That's yeah, right. Not that it's my way or the highway, but the exit's right there if you want to get on the highway.
Exit's right there. There. Yep. Take the love train.
I love that. I love that. All aboard. So
yeah.
You started playing piano at 4 years old. Is that right?
I did. I had a piano in my living room, and I think it was gifted to us by a family member or something. And no one in my family is musical or plays an instrument at all. So my mom, when she was pregnant with me, used to play tapes of Phantom of the Opera to her belly, and she would go see theater a lot. And I literally popped out of the womb playing Phantom of the Opera. And I played Music of the Night by ear and just plunked it out on the keys. And when I was 4,
That's so
and my
impressive.
mom went, oh, I need to put you in lessons. I need to, I want to develop this, because I just would not leave the piano. So that's kind of how my music, I guess, career started, but just my love for music.
That's so impressive. There. That's so impressive. You just started playing, and then all of a sudden it became natural to you. You taught yourself. You played with the keys. That's so amazing. I find people who can play an instrument, it's very impressive. I struggle with it. I'm not saying I don't do it. I have my acoustic guitar here. I practice it. I watch my YouTube videos, and I try my best. But it is hard. It is hard. I've tried to play the saxophone. I try to play the keyboard. So I've tried, but like all things, I'll do it well, and then once I stop, I forget everything, and then I'm like bad again. But it's not something that I've ever felt like I could make a career out of or do anything well. I just more like to do it for fun. But I find it impressive when people can do it, especially at the level that like people like yourselves do it, because I could never do it like that. Like that's amazing.
Oh, you could do it. You could do it. But I think it's one of those things, if you're going to go for this career, you really have to love it.
Yeah.
And music's just got to be in your soul.
Mm-hmm.
And there are different ways of learning too. For me, it was by ear. I couldn't sight read for anything, Yeah. I could, but I would really have to force myself to sit there and learn Rachmaninoff, which I did do many a time. Actually, it's funny. When I was 12, I bought the sheet music for John Legend's Ordinary People.
Oh, okay.
And it was one of the first songs. I decided to stop taking lessons and stop my classical route, because it was just way too time consuming for me. I wanted to do other things. I wanted to dance and sing. And so, but that was one of the first pieces of music I bought. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to sit here and learn it. And I was like 11 years old, just practice all day, all night. And it's so funny, because right before I auditioned, my blind audition, they had a piano in the room that you can like either warm up in, or, they're shooting different things with our families. And I sat there and I played Ordinary People. That was the first song that came to my mind. And I closed my eyes and I played. And it's the only song I can play with my eyes closed and a full-length acrylic nails.
Wow.
To this day.
To this day.
Which is hard.
Yeah, it's I can't even
hard with these.
I can hardly play an instrument with my eyes open. So the fact that you can do a full song with your eyes closed and acrylic nails.
That's the only one I can play though with it.
Still impressive though. Still impressive.
We'll take it.
Speaking of that, you were talking about your blind audition. I can relate to you in some of the stuff that you were saying in your promo. My folks separated when I was 8 years old as well. On the contrary, my grandfather was an important figure of my life, but for you, it was your grandmother. I have a tattoo of my grandfather's birthday on my arm. He just has always meant a lot to me. And you talked about how your mom and your grandmother helped you become the woman that you are today. So in your words, how important were those relationships for you?
Oh, they're everything. You know, I essentially grew up without a father figure in my life, although now we've mended that, which has been important for me. But just growing up in that female energy and having to, go from everything to nothing. When my parents split, we ended up living at my grandma's house in Naples, Florida, and I moved from Atlanta to Naples, and we lived with her, and I went to high school essentially living in a room with my little sister and my grandma and my mom, and we just made it work. And my grandma was always there to take me to play practices. She would take me to my lessons. She was really the reason why I was able to develop the way that I did theatrically and with music, because my mom would work all day and she would get home very late. So my grandma would pick me up from school and take me to all my rehearsals, and so that I could still have a life, outside of school. And she was just a total light, and she's super German, super stoic. And she just loved me unconditionally. And so did my mom. And so I did have a lot of love for the lack that was there from the father figure. I had a lot of love in that way. So
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you. I appreciate you being vulnerable, sharing those moments that you've had, because I've had similar moments of that in my life as well. I lost my grandfather very, very young. I lost him at 8 or 9 years old, but at the time when my folks were separated, he was that male figure for me, and it was so important. And then I ended up losing that, obviously, but it resonates with you. It stays with you, and it's. I always feel like I'm an extension of him, which kind of goes to what I wanted to share with you, because I know you said your wish was to have her watch you, and I always like to think that and I think you quote, I may paraphrase here, but I think you said something like she's orchestrating the entire thing for you, and I feel the same way with my grandfather. I feel like I'm an extension of him, and I'm living him. Like I am still living him in some variation. I'm obviously a different individual, but when it comes to these lineages of family trees, you end up being them, and you are extensions of them. So she's still living that dream. You can feel them. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but no. Just to add is you can feel them.
Yes.
And especially when you can tap in certain moments when you want to.
Yes.
And you can just feel their presence, especially when you have a hard decision, or even my blind audition.
Yep.
When John turned, I felt like she whispered in his ear.
Yeah.
I don't know why I felt that, but I just did. I just knew she was there. And maybe it's my own mind making things up, but I really could feel her, and the nerves left my body, and it just became, it became like her living through me. And yeah.
Well, actually, I'm glad that you brought up the blind audition, and you did a great job. John Legend did turn around for you, so you made the show. You seemed pretty confident, in my opinion, while you were performing. I don't know if it's stage presence or what, but I thought that you looked pretty confident on my end. Was that not the case for you? Were you internally freaking out?
I was so freaking out.
Really?
I'm, over the years, I've developed ways of not letting it show. I hope at least, but oh my gosh, I was so nervous. I was
Yeah.
so nervous. But when he turned for me, immediately relief just like went over my body. It was like, honestly, this big, beautiful blur.
Yeah.
Like, I just remember getting out there being like, okay, you got this, you can do this. And also me tapping into my grandma helped
Yep.
too, because I could feel like she was there. And music is something very ethereal. Like, where does it come from?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like when you can tap into that aspect in some way, I feel like you're a little bit closer to a divine delivery.
Yep. Yeah.
And people can feel it and connect to it because it comes from some place else other than something generated from you in an egoic way. It's more of an ethereal way, and so I like to play in that realm. And I think you'll see in the battle round too. Oh gosh, I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait. I know you
For you
can't
to see
spoil
it.
it. I know you can't spoil it, but I can't wait to watch you. I was hoping that before we had this interview that I would have been able to catch it, but nonetheless, even afterwards, hopefully we can do it again. We can do this again sometimes because I'm still having it. We still have more to go, but I'm having a great
Yeah,
time. So,
me too.
thinking ahead here. So, yes, you turned John Legend turned around and you sang "Candy" by Mandy Moore, right? I'd never heard that song before.
Really?
Not
Not
one.
even in the 90s?
Not in the. I know I'm a '90s baby. I know you would think I would have. No, and then I heard it for the first time, and I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I know this song." But I had to like tap into like old
It's
memories and things like that because it was way back, and I was like, "Oh wait, I have heard this song before." But no, yeah. So I thought, but when I heard you sing it, that rendition obviously was you made it your own. And I in my eyes, I was like, wow, I've never heard this song before. I just didn't even think about it until I had to hear it on iTunes. Why did you end up choosing that song?
I was sitting with a friend of mine going through the list of 600 songs they send you to go through, and I'm going down one by one. And we get to Candy, and my friend goes, oh, okay, past that one. We don't need to listen to that. And I said, oh, hold on, give me a minute. And I walked over to my keys, and I just played through the entire thing.
Yeah.
And I could hear in my head, oh, the strings go here, and the gong goes there, and the hook when it drops. And I'm like, it could be this epic, like cinematic pop, moment. And he kind of looked at me like I was insane. And I said, you know what? No, I'm going to take a risk here. And I'm just going to put it as my number one choice. The very next day, the music director called me and said, hey, we've never had anyone pick this song as their number one choice. So who are you? And like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And so I explained to him the vision. He was like, all right, let's do it. He said, I'm gunning for this song. I hope you pick this, and I went for it.
Wow. Well, I mean, clearly it worked out for you because you had John very ecstatic. He was like, throwing the hands up, and he was so happy that he was the only one that turned around for you. Your mom was able to watch you. That was awesome. That must have been a really cool feeling for you as well. You were able to share that moment with your mom, your grandmother, John Legend, which you said you met him prior to. Is that correct?
I did. I met him 6 years prior in New York at the Apollo Theater in Harlem.
Okay.
And I was catering at the time. I was a champagne girl. And I was actually doing bottle service for him and his wife. And so I remember he gets up on stage and performs Ordinary People, which is my favorite song. And I just was so mesmerized by him that I completely stopped working for 5 minutes. And I had this deep knowing that I would work with him one day.
Yep.
And it's so interesting how things manifest and how long sometimes it takes for things to come into your life, 6 years later, 6, 7 years. And And then I told that story. It actually just flew out of me. I was not planning that at all to tell that. I wasn't sure who was going to turn.
Right.
So, and then John did. And I said, oh, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Everything like just came into fruition in that moment. Yeah, I don't even really know how to express what that feeling was, because it was like this pressure cooker for so long, in the month that we're training for the blind audition. And then when you get out on stage, it's just like all the energy just comes out of you. And it's this like overwhelming sensation of life making sense in a moment. And I think we like live for those moments too,
We do. Everything's supposed to happen the way it's supposed to happen. So when you see those pieces starting to align, because there are moments where we question, why is this happening, and things like that. And then when you see the moments where the puzzle pieces are all starting to make sense and you're seeing it together, you're like, oh, now I understand. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. Like, I question this, but here it is. And you had that deep feeling in your heart that you were going to work with him one day, and here it is. And now you're doing it. And now
we're here.
And now
we're here.
Exactly. Exactly. You did a great job. Kudos to you. You worked hard to get there. Very proud of you. Is there anything that you, looking back on that experience, is there anything that you would have told yourself to do differently or to change or anything like that? Is there any advice you would have given to Lana 6-7 months ago before she went and did the blind auditions?
I would say don't quit before the miracle.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's beautifully said. So I'm going to hit you with some rapid fire questions now, okay?
Let's do it.
We're going to try to have a little bit of fun here. So,
yeah.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
Ooh. Oh my God, this just popped into my head and I'm just going to say it off cuss. I hate when people don't claim their flatulence.
Really? You hate when people don't claim it?
I hate that. If you're going to do it, you need to claim it, because I'm not taking it for you.
You need to own it. So if somebody...
Own it!
So
I don't know why that popped into my head.
So now we here on the Reyes Reflection, if somebody farts in front of Lana, you have to go ahead and say that it's yours.
If you did it. I just want to know so that I'm not feeling crazy. You know?
Yeah. Well, you also don't want people. You also don't want people to be like, oh, like you don't want that. So
even if I don't know you, just let me know. In fact, I'd like to get to know you better if you claim it, instead of like looking around to see if someone noticed. Yes, we all noticed.
So
this is really interesting.
I have a question for you then. I have a question for you.
Oh, no.
A sub question. You're on an elevator, okay, with someone, and they they rip one, okay, but you don't hear it. You just smell it. What are you doing at that moment in time?
I am staring them down
until they confess.
Yeah, or I'll give I will give side eye. That might be the only moment that I give side eye.
You'll be like, I know it's you. You need to go ahead and admit this right now, and we can move on.
Right? I'll even cock my head and be like,
and
then I'll shake it. I'll shake it.
You're like, we can be friends. I just need to know. Did you fart right now?
Or else it's over.
Yeah.
I'm leaving this elevator and I will never talk to you again.
I love it. That was a good one. I like that. I love pet peeves, because to me, there's some things that bother people and there's other things that don't. So I always love listening. I always love asking people what their biggest pet peeve is. So thank you and now I know that if I ever let one out near you, I have to go ahead and say, hey, that was me. I'll own it.
If we go to Disneyland on Tower of Terror, potentially the most horrifying elevator there is.
Oh,
you better let me know.
I didn't even.
Or else I'm dropping you.
I didn't even think about that. That is the most terrifying elevator. So.
Oh God, can't do it.
What do you do to de-stress?
Meditate.
Okay.
Tea. And I light incense in my room and I clear the energy with sage.
Oh, okay.
And I
Yeah,
have like a crystal, I have little crystals laid out.
I get that vibe from you. I get that vibe that you're a very like in your emotions in the moment type of individual, and you won't allow anyone to be negative in your space. Or and you also strike me as the individual that you're very open to other people, but you also like positive energy and you like positive reassurance. You don't, and the negative, you not necessarily you don't have time for it, but you do your best to help that or eliminate that. And that's the vibe I'm getting from you. That's what I've gotten from you in this interview so far.
Well, that's really kind, and even though we've only known each other for 30 minutes, I'm glad that you got that you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
We'll say I always try to transform any kind of negativity, and yeah, because there's no room for it. We don't have time. We're
Right.
here for such a short liminal time and experience, so might as well have fun and love while we're doing it.
Yeah, well, that's what I put on my Instagram bio. I literally have here for a good time, not a long time. Like
Come
I,
through.
I'm here for fun. I'm here for all that stuff.
Yeah,
So, all right,
Tower Terror it is.
it is. Another question I have for you. Okay, what is your go-to icebreaker joke?
Joke. Well, I don't know if it's necessarily a joke, but a lot of times it turns into a joke.
Okay, let's hear it.
I love, and I start my master classes off this way whenever I teach kids. I always ask them what their favorite song to sing in the shower is, or favorite karaoke song. And the things that come out of these kids' mouths is hilarious. And I know that I have a funny answer and a truthful funny answer. So I always know that I can like break the ice with it.
Yeah.
And my karaoke song actually has I have two that I do, and they come with full costumes. So if I know I'm going to karaoke, I have sunglasses, I have a hat, like I'm ready to go. So I either sing Elvis, A Little Less Conversation, I do the hip thrusts along with it, or I sing my all-time favorite, which is Baby Got Back by Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Yeah.
And I do a, might I say, phenomenal rendition of that song. And sometimes there are opera notes that come out as I'm rapping. And I know every single word by heart, and like I could just
as you're rapping, there's
Yeah.
opera notes that hit. Wow.
Yeah, naturally. Yeah.
So wait a minute. You know every word in that song?
Yeah.
I do not. Wow, that is impressive. I just know Baby Got Back. That's like I know the song.
All you really need to know.
Yeah.
If it came on, you'd be able to just let it.
I'd be able. Oh, that was impressive. That was a good pop sound. I know enough to be able to go like, Baby Got Back. You know what I mean? Like.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
I know enough to go ahead and do it that way. So, what is one question or topic that you wished I brought up or that you wish to discuss?
I feel like you rather did a wonderful job of bringing the real in. I always think with podcasts and when I listen to podcasts, I love to leave with the education aspect of it in some way. But we really got to the truth and the heart of things, which I think is so important. And the reason why we would sit down and do this. But I loved the advice question, but I think even more so, one thing that would have helped me rather when I was on the show was different ways to calm my nerves. And I've always dealt with a certain level of anxiety, performance anxiety, that I've struggled with for most of my life, honestly.
Yeah.
And even though I've been doing this for 30 years, it's tough to get out there and like really be open with people especially when you have cameras on you and, hair and makeup for that you've been sitting in for 24 hours and a lot of things thrown your way. And I think I've developed a lot of different ways of calming myself, but nothing can really prepare you for the moment because it's different every time you do it.
I agree.
So even like having a conversation like this, right? We're still putting ourselves out there, and
Yeah.
there's a certain level of like, ooh, is this going to go well? Is this not? Right? And that's just like life in general. And I think people live with anxiety, a lot
Yeah.
of people today, and just dealing with anxiety. And I think we all want to feel a sense of peace within ourselves,
Absolutely.
within the chaos that we live in and the amount of stimulation that we are force fed every day via, our phones and social media, and just what the landscape is right now. We're no longer Neanderthals, fighting for our lives, but it's a different kind of survivor mode
Yeah. I agree.
now.
I agree.
It's
Yeah.
more mental, it's not physical. So that's just something that I want to express, that it's normal.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I just want to say that it's normal and it's okay to feel those things. And I shut those feelings down, and I thought, oh, because I feel this way, I'm not enough, or I'm not ready.
Yeah.
That is not the case. I am ready.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish that was something that I felt prior to, because I was very anxious and very nervous of how I would be received by the world.
Mm-hmm.
It was my first really big national exposure. And so I felt the weight of that. But I wish I would have just accepted where I was earlier on in my life and in my career. And now I really am starting to. I think when John turned, it was just confirmation for me that I was on the right path.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. That's beautifully said, because the truth is you hit the nail on the head on every point. It is evolutionary, right? Like, you're right. We're not afraid of, is that a saber-toothed tiger chasing us anymore? But we do have a lot more, and I think I've never heard it, but that's going to stay with me for the rest of my life, where you said it's mental now. It's not so much physical. You're right. So great advice. Really appreciate everything you just said, and you are ready for the moment. You're living the moment. You're living your dream, and you have a fan in me for life. So great job.
Aww.
I really appreciate everything that I appreciate you coming on the show and doing this. Where can listeners find you, follow you, see your content, all that stuff?
Yeah, you can follow me at Lana Love Music, and I'm on Spotify as Lana Love. And my TikTok is at Lana Love, not Del Rey.
That's clever. That is clever.
Thanks.
I like that.
And thank you for having me, and just for your kind words and your receptivity. It's been so lovely to chat with you this morning. So I'm grateful to be here.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate you doing this. Speaking of which, you did say Neanderthal. I do want to throw out that funny. No. Here we go. So my name's Nathanael. No. Funny story. I laugh at this stuff now all the time. So,
Did I use the correct term?
No. No, that is correct.
Okay.
That is correct. I'm sharing this story.
Don't want to get canceled.
No. When in 7th grade, I had a crush on a girl, and she said, and full disclosure, my face, my eyes and nose were always big from my face. I think it's done well.
It's evened out.
It's evened out. Puberty has done well on me, but I share this because my eyes and nose are always big for my face, and I liked it. I had a big crush on this girl, and I said to her, yeah, I'd love to like go to the movies with you or something like that. And she goes, you look like a Neanderthal. And I was like,
oh my gosh.
And so
I just brought up so much trauma.
No,
I'm so sorry.
No, you didn't. No, I promise you didn't. It's all laughs. It's all good stuff. If you can't laugh at yourself, you can't laugh at anything. So I laugh at myself all the time, because I look back on that and I'm like, she wasn't wrong. She was not wrong.
She wasn't wrong.
but
thank you for sharing that. I'm so glad. I think I might be one of the only people that knows that. Well, now everyone will know that.
Yeah.
That's very specific information. I'm glad. Well, I didn't mean to bring up any trauma, but I'm glad that
No,
this came out.
you didn't bring
I'm
it up.
glad to know this about you.
You didn't bring it up. Again, I laugh at this stuff all the time because hello, yeah, I looked awkward. I was 12, 13 years old. We all did. Like
Everyone looks
yeah,
awkward.
yeah.
I
So
had braces and acne and
exactly.
really unruly curly hair.
Oh,
And
really?
people told, you know what people told me?
What?
I had to get a spray tan once for a show, and they dyed my hair brown because I was playing Gabriella in High School Musical, which I should never have played.
Yeah, you Sharpay.
I should have played Sharpay, but
Yeah.
we live in Naples, so
Yeah.
you
So,
know,
a lot.
there's a lot of blondes
A
there.
lot of competition. Yep. Yep.
A lot of competition for that role. So I was playing Gabrielle, and I remember my spray tan was coming off a little bit, and then people at school didn't want to sit next to me because they were like, "You have skin cancer."
Oh
And I
my
was like,
goodness.
"No, I don't." And then they called me Oompa Loompa.
Oh my goodness. See, I'm telling you, no, these experiences, I laugh at them now.
Trauma.
They're to me, I'm just like, whatever. Yeah, I was an ugly kid. It's
Yeah.
okay. I love myself now. I move on. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But as we bonded over our trauma, thank you so much again for doing this
Thank
episode.
you.
Hopefully we could do another one in the future. I can't wait to see what you do. Again, you have a fan for life in me, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day.
Thank you. This was so fun, and we'll do it again.
Awesome. So that
Let's
is
do
going
it.
to do it for today. For more interviews, subscribe to the Reyes Reflection Podcast anywhere you get your podcast. For any updates, clips, news on future episodes, follow me on Instagram at I'm Nathanael Reyes. We're wrapped for today, and you know the deal. May you live, may you love, and may you thrive. I'm the male Oprah. I love you all.